Now, earlier today, the prosecuting attorney said 3 boys aged 14, 10, and 7 were part of an attack that took place at the Fawnbrook Apartments, where a 5-year-old girl was assaulted.
Eight women in Maine have been treated for complications related to female genital mutilation, according to Maine State Representative Heather Siraki, referencing MaineCare records. However, at the end of June, lawmakers in Maine failed to pass a bill that was introduced to create strict local laws against those allowing and performing FGM.
In the summer of 2015, 23-year-old Kate Steinle was shot in the back while on a walk with her father along San Francisco's popular waterfront pier known as Embarcadero. Police arrested Garcia Zarate, a homeless felon and an undocumented immigrant who had been deported 5 times. 3 months before the deadly shooting, Garcia Zarate had been released from jail after a drug charge was dropped, but immigration officials were never notified. The fate of Jose Garcia Zarate was read in front of a packed courtroom. Not guilty on the most serious murder charges, guilty of one secondary charge, felony possession of a weapon.
Not since a 3-year-old stole the Pope's skull cap. Has there been such a high-profile hat snatch in return? In the latest case, a Marine's hat, known as a cover, got blown off and was retrieved by President Trump, though even he couldn't keep it from flying off again. The Marine kept his poker face while conservatives cracked a smile, drawing comparisons. It's quite a contrast to President Latte, a reference to the time President Obama saluted a Marine while holding a coffee.
In Puerto Rico, first of all, throwing paper towels at the victims of the hurricane like it was a game. I've never seen anything like that before.
Ever.
And then saying, boy, you're lucky you didn't face a real catastrophe.
You should be proud.
Yeah, when Willie, the stories coming out of Puerto Rico every day really keep getting worse.
Melania Trump is the kind of woman who travels to a flood-ravaged state in a pair of black snakeskin stilettos. Heels this high are not practical, but Trump is not the kind of woman who has to be practical. Heels this high are not comfortable. Comfort is not the point, neither hers nor yours. Trump is the kind of woman who knows that when she walks from the White House to Marine One, there will be photographers. On the morning she traveled to Texas, that meant stilettos with a pair of cropped black trousers and an army green bomber jacket. And she looked great. It's an image that would have been at home in any fashion magazine. But it was also an image that suggested that Trump is the kind of woman who refuses to pretend that her feet will, at any point, ever be immersed in cold, bacteria-infested Texas water. She's the kind of woman who may listen empathetically to your pain, but she knows that you know that she is not going to experience it.
Time magazine got a scoop, literally a scoop, on the president's scoops. We already knew he hankers for taco bowls and Big Macs and KFC, eaten with a knife and a fork. We knew he sometimes insists on fellow diners eating meatloaf, which brings us to ice cream. With the salad course, Trump is served what appears to be Thousand Island dressing instead of the creamy vinaigrette for his guests. And then the gem. At the dessert course, he gets 2 scoops of vanilla ice cream with his chocolate cream pie, instead of the single scoop for everyone else.
The 3 victims were part of a CXS group.
Fuck her right in the pussy!
There goes a couple of plows demonstrating what I said. What I said, hitting us. All right, there you go. Here comes another one. There, they knocked it. 4 plow trucks, and you can still snow covered. So.
Not really more accumulating snow, but just a biting, granular, kind of slushy, icy snow.
In Smithtown in Suffolk County tonight, she continues.
Pigs are reportedly running rampant in a
Is a wonderful scene. These are Muslim mums. There's a little fella here who's bought a little sign, and this is in commemoration. You can see his little sign to the heroes of London. There are flowers on the street here. Ladies with hashtag turn to love, hashtag ISIS equals enemies of Islam, hashtag ISIS will lose, hashtag.
Good morning, I'm Rena Ninen.
I'm TJ Holmes with the top stories on this Tuesday, January 20th. We begin with a new threat overnight from ISIS. Video here just released online. The Islamic terror group says it will execute 2 Japanese hostages unless it receives $200 million in ransom. The man speaking on this video sounded like a British militant involved in other beheadings by the Islamic State group. The militant said the Japanese were targeted for supporting Western military efforts.
Marked by prayers.
Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done.
With his sister calling for peace.
Don't bring the violence here and the ignorance here.
Milwaukee police say they made multiple arrests.
Y'all burning down shit we need in our community. Take that shit to the suburbs. Burn that shit down. We need our shit. Y'all want to hurt somebody, take that shit farther out. Don't bring it here. Don't bring the violence here and the ignorance here. We need everything we fucking got.
I expected to be able to ask my questions and give my opinion on my questions.
But Colton Hobb, a member of the junior ROTC who shielded classmates in the midst of terror, says he did not get to share his experience.
CNN had originally asked me to write a speech and questions, and it ended up being all scripted.
Colton wrote questions about school safety, suggested using veterans as armed school security guards, but claimed CNN wanted him to ask a scripted question instead, so he decided not to go.
You're awake, by the way. You're not having a terrible, terrible dream. Also, you're not dead and you haven't gone to hell. This is your life now. This is our election now. This is us. This is our country. It's real.
And welcome back to the show. I scream, you scream. You know the rest.
I scream, you scream, you know the rest.
I scream, you scream, you know the rest.
I scream, you scream. You know the rest. Well, I scream, you scream. You know the rest.
That's applause for that.
Now it's my turn. So I can't believe you can defend this. I mean, really, is there no, so my question is there no line? Like, if that had been a picture, not of the CNN logo, a video, not of the CNN logo,
with all the opportunities,
Jake Tapper's head he was punching.
You know what?
Would that cross a line for you? What if it was a picture of Donald Trump holding a bloody CNN logo up? Would that cross the line? When does it cross the line?
You know what makes this country great?
You appear to have a listening problem, Sally, because I said it was not advisable for him to send that out.
And you defended it. And you defended it. It was said it was just a joke.
I said it was not advisable. Yes, it was just a joke. And by the way, you should take an inward look, because the Hollywood liberal elite are the ones calling for the assassination of the president, Johnny Depp.
And you know what? There's a difference.
Hold up the president's head. It's the Hollywood liberal elite.
Of, you know, Donald Trump in the wrestling video and where he punches CNN. So the investigative team went back and found the guy who first created this. He took credit for it. He apologized. He apologized for having done that. The reason that I think this is so notable, Crystal, is because this is a very full-throated, I think, genuine, honest apology. He has also asked that we not reveal his name or whereabouts, and we at CNN are honoring that because he's apologized, and he thinks that he would then be in danger and at risk if other people knew his name. We get it. We understand that. So I don't know. I just think that this is just a very interesting addendum to this whole story.
What I have here is a copy of Donald Trump's tax returns. We have his federal tax return for 1 year for 2005. I believe this is the only set of the president's federal taxes that reporters have ever gotten a hold of. He paid $38 million, looks like $38 million in taxes. He took a big write-down of $103 million. More on that later. If you add up the lines for income, he made more than $150 million in that year. Mazel tov. I'm going to read you the White House statement on this tonight. Quote, before being elected president, Mr. Trump was one of the most successful businessmen in the world, with a responsibility to his company, his family, and his employees to pay no more tax than legally required. That being said, Mr. Trump paid $38 million, even after taking into account large-scale depreciation for construction on an income of more than $150 million, as well as paying tens of millions of dollars in other taxes, such as sales and excise taxes and employment taxes. And this illegally published return proves just that.